I was raised somewhat Catholic, but honestly, we weren't even really good Catholics. My parents quit going to church, and so my mom told my dad that if we're not going, then the kids don't have to go anymore. So basically, my whole life up till I was a young adult, I didn't have any church background. And then in the late 70s, I met my wife. And about our second date, I heard she was religious. So our second date, my mother-in-law, future mother-in-law, asked me if I knew the Lord. I said, well, I don't know. I'm a Catholic. I guess I do. You die today. Where are you going to be? I said, well, heaven. I've been a pretty good guy. I haven't killed anybody. And that was my, my understanding of who Jesus was in eternity and such. And so she says, well, there's more to it. She said, Jesus is coming back. Do you know he's coming back? I said, I didn't even know he left. And so about our second date, like I said, my mother-in-law asked me those questions, and I didn't really have a solid answer. But so my wife and I future wife dated for a while, and then we broke up. Because of religious indifferences, meaning she had some and I didn't, and I didn't know this till later, but she threw me on the altar and she says, God, I want him back, but I want him back as a man of God. Well, I didn't know that till down the road. So we broke up for a month or so, and then I saw her one day, and I go, God, I gotta call her back up, and so I did, and she invited me to a Bible study that night. And so I went, and it was a strange, full gospel type of Bible study. It was just a weird one. I went to the bar and got drunk afterwards because I just couldn't deal with what I saw and what I encountered. So, a short time later, because I still wanted to date her, she was real cool. She was coy. She laid low. She knew what to say and what not to say, and she just laid low and gave me some space. And one night I asked her if we came back from a date. I said, well, God was tugging at my heart. I didn't know that, but he was. And I said, well, what do you got to do to be saved? She said, well, we invite Christ in. And she led me through what's known as a sinner's prayer. And I'm a touchy-feely guy. I said, well, that's it. She says, yeah, that's it. I go, well, I don't feel any different. She says, well, don't worry about it. Get in the New Testament and start reading about this Jesus that you just invited into your life. I said, okay, fine. I didn't rush in anything. But 3 weeks later, she was living in Ventura. I was living up here at Atascadero, and I worked offshore in oil rigs. So when I'd come home, I'd stay at their house at night, and then I was coming home one Sunday morning. And back in the late 70s, they used to play praise music on the oldies rock and roll station I'd listen to on Sunday morning, early before anybody woke up, I think. But anyway, so I turned it on as I'm driving up Highway 101, coming right out of north of Ventura. Highway 1 on the Pacific Coast Highway, and I remember the song came on, and I'm an accordion player, man. I never used to sing. You can't do both. So, but I looked around on the freeway. There was nobody there, so I started singing this chorus, and all I can tell you is the power of God filled my car, and I started shaking from my head to my toes, and I just said, whoa. And I didn't have all the answers to why there's 2 million churches in the world and all that. I didn't know anything about the scripture other than just a little I read. But I knew that this Jesus that I invited into my life 3 weeks ago landed and just, filled me from my head to my toes, and I was transformed that day. And as I look back at my life to this day, that was a fork in the road. That's the day I met Christ, and our relationship has grown ever since. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it.